Nothing feels better than that moment in an anime when all hope seems lost and then the hero shows up to save the day. Except maybe the touch of a woman? At least that's what I've been told. I don't know. Anyway, Goku basically invented this trope all the way back in the Saiyan saga of Dragon Ball Z. Nappa was playing ping pong with the corpses of all the Z fighters, and when he was about to kill Krillin and Gohan, right then, Goku showed up and snapped his spine like a Kit Kat. It was sick. So sick, in fact, that Toriyama had him do literally the exact same thing again in the Frieza saga, twice in a row. My point is that this is an awesome way to get your audience to love the hero, and because us shonen fans are essentially a giant crowd of drooling, clapping monkeys, we get hyped up every time we see it. Like when All Might showed up to save the students of 1A from the first villain attack in Season 1 of My Hero Academia. There was definitely my fair share of drooling and clapping as he punched that Nomu into orbit, but unfortunately, this scene had an unintended consequence. It made me like All Might too much. I know that sounds like a stupid problem, but it does sort of become an issue when you remember that All Might isn't the main character of the show. That spot goes to Deku. And I want to get ahead of it, I do not buy into the crowd who thinks Deku is lame. He's cool, he's a good main character. I know he cries enough to raise sea levels a few feet, and he's such a beta male that he practically worships his childhood bully, but he's also batshit insane in the coolest way, willing to break all his bones over and over again just to win a tournament and get good grades. Like, I promise you, bro, that A- is not worth turning your arms into bags of bone skittles. Deku is a genuine hero, and even though I find all the art of him as a washed-up, quirkless McDonald's worker hilarious, I really love his story, his growth, his resolve, and his ultimate resolution. But he's just not as cool as All Might, man. This 7'2", hulking behemoth manly man who can punch a city in half as long as he yells about Cleveland, Ohio while he does it, all on top of the super interesting character motivation that he thinks he needs to take the entire world's burden on his shoulders alone, and he has the dramatic limitation of his powers that they could run out at any time, leaving him not only physically vulnerable, but crippling his perfectly crafted image in the eyes of Hero Society. Yeah, I like him more than Freckle-Faced McCries-a-Lot, even in his edgy Batman vigilante phase. And this isn't just a problem in My Hero Academia. I love Naruto, but that show has so many dope mentor figures that if someone told you that they thought Kakashi or Minato was cooler than the main character, they wouldn't sound completely insane. Naruto mostly dodges the issue though, probably because they do the thing where Pain blows up the Leaf Village and Naruto, say it with me now, shows up at the last second to save the day. But there is a huge asterisk here. Rock Lee and Might Guy. Everybody and their mama loves the Lee versus Gaara fight. Did you see the part where he dropped the weights? Only on every top 10 anime fights video ever made ever. But after that, Lee only gets one joke fight with Kimimaro where he's absolutely zooted, then that's it. Meanwhile, Guy gets to flex on Kisame and has arguably the coolest encounter in the whole show, opening the 8 gates and punching Madara so damn hard he broke physics and shriveled up into a sun-baked raisin. He literally did the meme, sick complex hacks or whatever, check this shit out. And Lee is like the poster boy for untapped story potential. There is no reason that we have 12 trillion filler episodes of Boruto where they all cry and eat burgers, and Lee still hasn't figured out how to open the 8 gates. Every other member of that generation surpassed their masters except for the one kid whose whole story was supposed to be about defying the odds and succeeding even though you're at a disadvantage. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. If you can't tell, every time I see a bowl cut, I get Vietnam flashbacks and fly into an unhinged rant about narrative purpose and character arcs. I think anybody who's thought about this topic in modern anime has undoubtedly brought up Jujutsu Kaisen. Yuji Itadori has run the gauntlet in Twitter threads. Boring MC, all he does is punch, no curse technique or domain expansion, and it's really an uphill battle because who do we have to compare him to? Only our glorious blue-eyed king, the honored one, the absolute strongest. Gojo is so freaking sexy, I mean badass. His Infinity Curse technique is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. The aesthetic of his domain expansion as this black hole of information inside your brain. He's got this absolutely infectious personality that's so confident and funny and terrifying when he starts fighting seriously. Not to mention the philosophy of what it means to be the strongest and all his allegories to the Buddha. I could talk about Gojo forever. In fact, I currently pay my therapist $170 an hour to do just that. And Yuji is definitely cool. I feel like I need to make this clear. His fights fights with Todo are some of the best scenes in new gen anime, period. And when he turned into the wolf as a predator to stalk down Mojito, like me when I approached Taco Bell at 3 a.m., I was practically cheering at my TV. But it doesn't matter how cool you make him when you've already achieved peak fiction with Gojo. The dude was so popular, Gege had to straight up take him out of the show and stick him in his little cuck box. Hell, this is a problem in anime that don't even stick to the traditional mentor-mentee structure. Early parts of JoJo have teachers like Will Zeppeli and Lisa Lisa, and they honestly kind of have the opposite problem. Neither of them really shine with a super cool fight or have some special unique power, and they both get defeated by the enemies. Zeppeli at least gets a final moment where he passes on his Hamon to Jonathan, but Lisa Lisa gets captured and then her leg played like a guitar or some shit, which is definitely a major reduction in aura points. If this happens to you, you can actually report it on your taxes. Where the real problem comes in is part 4. Araki screwed up by making Jotaro the sickest guy on the planet and then sticking him right into this crazy noisy bazaar town with the rest of these goobers. I like Josuke, but Crazy Diamond is just not as cool as Star Platinum. The whole time stop thing is completely busted, so much so that Jotaro is actually the one who finishes the fight with Yoshikage Kira. I mean, if you want to get technical, he gets the kill stolen again by an ambulance, which is owned by the city, so Kira was killed by the municipality of Morio and its taxpayers, which means Josuke still wouldn't get the credit because, well, his mom probably claims him as a dependent, right? Or what about Stone Ocean? Jolene gets plenty of opportunities to be stupidly badass, getting hit by meteors and lighting herself on fire, but once again, Jotaro looms over the story, like that one creepy uncle at Thanksgiving, just waiting to launch into a tirade about the age of consent laws in Japan. You know Araki was kicking himself over making Jotaro so cool and sick and rad, so he had to take him out of the story by turning him into a vegetable. Even when he does come back at the end, it's just to get killed, because he would have stolen all the spotlight from Jolene, just like he did to Josuke in part 4. And then Emporio kill steals instead, I guess? I don't know, who cares? I can't wait for part 7. But this isn't always a problem. Like I said, it's reasonable to think a mentor character like Kakashi is cooler than Naruto, but I think people are probably pretty split on it, because Naruto does a ton of sick shit. And there are definitely anime where the hero gets to shine significantly more than the mentor. Demon Slayer does it by giving Tanjiro a bunch of mentors really briefly. First, we get to see Rengoku, who goes out in, and I cannot stress how correct this phrase is, a blaze of glory. He's awesome, and we're left wanting more than what we got from our short time with him. Then the trio fights alongside Tengen. Same thing, the Sound Hashira gets one of the best animated fights in anything ever, he's absolutely incredible, and then he retires. Demon Slayer sidesteps the whole problem by not letting mentors stick around too long. Tanjiro is the MC, he's the one who should be aura farming, damn it! But I think the best example on how to do this right has to be Gurren Lagann. Kamina is the guy, smooth-talking, brave, brash. He's a complete nobody, but he single-handedly convinces humanity to rise up against Lord Genome. All these guys want to be him, all the ladies fawn over him, and he's got a katana longer than the wait for GTA 6. And next to Kamina, Simone is just a nerdy, shrimpy little dork. While Kamina gives an epic speech, Simone is quietly digging in the dirt. Kamina romances Yoko, and Simone just watches like a jealous little brother. Maybe he should go in the cuck box. But then something crazy happens. Kamina dies, straight up, and before they can even defeat Lord Genome and save humanity. The whole time we thought he was the protagonist, no, he's actually been the mentor. What follows is probably the greatest glow-up in anime history, not counting Kobe and Helmeppo. Simone starts out depressed and angry that Kamina's gone, then he tries to fill his shoes until finally everything clicks, and he chooses to believe in himself. He's not just a digger, he's Simone the Digger. He's badass in his own way. He was there for every step right next to Kamina, and he was his big bro's inspiration. Basically, Simone locks in and takes the title of MC for himself. We see him become the hero. He beats Lord Genome and ascends like a quintillion times higher, blowing up galaxies and throwing entire 11th dimensional timelines like darts, and us viewers are totally bought in because he convinced us that he deserves to be the hero and ended up way cooler than his mentor. I don't know if there's really a one-size-fits-all way to do this, though. Likeability isn't something you can really fine-tune that much when writing a manga. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure everybody would just push the sickness and dopeness meters all the way to 10 every time. Maybe you gotta make sure your mentor doesn't have as many major fights as the hero, or that the main character gets the majority of the badass one-liners. Maybe it's as simple as leaving the audience wanting more, taking the mentor out of the story after a single excursion to ensure they don't overstay their welcome. Or maybe you can sidestep all of this by making the coolest mentor ever and giving him loads of screen time right up until he hits critical mass, then boom, you stick him in the cuck box. Stay frosty.